Hello, good afternoon. I think my voice broke finally. Hello, good afternoon-ish. Yeah, it's like 4 p.m. Eastern right here. And welcome to the Full Force News Burst Live special, I guess. Is that really special? They're just always lives, aren't they? Brought to you by General Joe's REBORN.com with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. You may be wondering, why are you doing Wondercon reveals again? Did the episode last night with Travis not fulfill everything? Sort of. We've got way more new images. We've got loads of great shots from the actual panel that Hasbro put a video up earlier. So I took a load of screenshots of all the good stuff just to get much better look at the Ferret, the retro figures, and then of course his tank and multiple other platforms, Toy News International, people on the ground, of course, as well, like MCU Collector 24s and just Stephen MCs from ATKM. And all of them have been taking amazing pictures of the products, the actual retro carded figures. So we're going to look at those as well, kind of break it down a little bit by figure, and also look at, like their actual promo images and look at their, in-hand images. I'm also going to do a bit of comparising, well, visually myself with the eels, because I should have got this beforehand. I forgot to, but he's right here, so it's fine. I'm going to get a little bit of a comparison with this bad boy just to see, because the red does look brighter. There are actually a few changes on the eels, so we can kind of break that down a little bit as well while we're here. Hope everyone's having a happy Easter Sunday, by the way. I should say. So yeah, happy Easter stream, Easter special. Yeah, cracking. Eggs, get it? Anyway, I hope everyone is having a great weekend as well, I should say, and loads of people in the chat. Hello, everybody. Anyway, right, yeah. Obviously, Moody wasn't good enough. Heel turn. No, not at all. But like I said, when we were talking, I was like, there are going to be other images, better images of these, like a minute later. And it wasn't too long after we finished that they came flooding through. So anyway, let's get stuck in then. Lots of cool stuff to look at. I would also preface this by saying I was going to go live today with a Let's Talk Classified dial tone. And then all these images started coming out, and I was like, oh, I can't not cover this. So we're going to look at that, and then I'll save dial tone maybe for tomorrow, depending on what news breaks tomorrow. But we'll see how things go on Monday. But anyway, hopefully, Let's Talk Classified dial tone very soon. But let's get stuck in to some Wondercon images. That was easy for me to say. Pow! Yes, so lots of cool stuff to get stuck into. I've gone with the Ferret because the Ferret was definitely for me the scene stealer. From yesterday's stream. Obviously, the name only reveal of Was Once a Man Cobra Commander was great, but at the same time, we kind of knew pretty much everything about Beachhead, the eels, the snow serpent. There wasn't anything new there. It just seemed to open up wounds for people, like seeing them and just being like upset with the loadouts for each figure. But anyway, Beachhead is wonderful. I will say that. But let's go through what we saw, and we'll start with Beachhead. So, like I said, Hasbro posted a video from WonderCon, which was like polished, filming from the actual event, and of course your actual kind of like slideshow images they were using. They were kind of put in there as well. So we've got some really nice shots here, and we can really get some excellent details on Beachhead. Yes, we've got promo shots, but we've also got actual figures as well to look at too, which is pretty fun. Yes, happy Easter, everybody. Paul, Plastic Battles, Ferret looks absolutely incredible. We'll get to that, Paul, but my God, it is way beyond what I was expecting. They have gone, again, with the vehicles, above and beyond. Like, incredible stuff. Where's my retro carded ton up, says Jeremy Kimberlin. Hilarious. Where's my retro carded Toxo Zombie, says New York Night 1974. Also glorious. Oh my God, could we have that, please? Anyway, Beachhead, phenomenal looking. I really do love how he's turned out here. Deco looks on point. accessories look great. Secondary looks perfect. Backpack, yeah. This is beautiful, beautiful figure. I'm really excited to get Beachhead in hand, and this one will be. You know, I mean, they'll all be ripped off the card carefully. They'll be removed from the card carefully, but I can't wait to get this one on display. And again, I love other Beachhead Cobra Island. One of my favorite figures from the line. Genuinely love it. But this one is just giving us the vintage, isn't it? And it's, I mean, I think everyone's up for that. Yeah, now this is Beachhead, says G7M9W. Plastic Battles, best retros so far, I think. Yeah, I think between this one and Snake, oddly enough, I love that Snake Eyes retro figure. It's phenomenal, that Snake Eyes. And I'm trying to think of all the others. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Beachhead takes the win at the moment. I really loved the additional accessories for Lady J, and Gung Ho was absolutely superb as well. Yes, there you go, Plastic Battles. Maybe Gung Ho is best, you say. But Gung Ho was a good one, though. Gung Ho, like I said, Lady J, the addition of Lady J's extra retro accessories really made a precedent for this line that hasn't really continued. So yeah, I think Beachhead is a really good addition in here. I mean, Duke and Scarlet look phenomenal as well. And obviously, I'm surprised Recondo isn't your favorite, just because it's, you know, Recondo, Paul. Anyway, does anyone know why it has a 75 patch, says Wilfredo? The original figure didn't it? The original figure had that Ranger patch with like 75 on it. I don't know what the kind of like patch actually real life signifies, but as far as I'm aware, it was on the vintage figure. I'm just going to do a little chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself. I've already wrecked myself though. But I'm pretty sure it is an identical Yoink from the OG. Yep. So it's obviously it's an identical one that was on the original. Oh, 75th Ranger Division. I suppose that makes sense, Jeremy, considering I just said it both things and didn't put the two together. So yeah, there you go. 75th Rangers. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Jeremy. So anyway, beautiful stuff. Love this figure. I'm in love with Beachhead. What can I say? Looks great. Again, some cracking shots here. Him with the old crossbow. Again, he's got that out. Get your crossbow out. I think if I've got to, I can't remember. Yeah, it is definitely on the backpack, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I love the fact they incorporated that, and the fact that the crossbow, which I think is the same crossbow they had on the Cobra Island version. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would look, but he's kind of buried in. You know, if he's not buried, he's accessible, but I have to stand in front of it, put my arm over about 5 figures and pull him out, and it will just knock everything over if I try from this angle. But anyway, yeah, and I love the fact that they've incorporated it onto the retro backpack as well, which is awesome. So good on them for that. That wasn't it's not the same backpack, is it, as the Cobra Island one? Where are you, Beachy head? I've got to have a look now. Bear with me. I know, terrible for radio, this. Where are you? Where is he, Beachhead? He was here. There he is. He was hiding. He was hiding. Oh, and I have knocked about 3 of these over. I know you can all hear me at the moment, but yeah, I've just knocked about 5 figures over just getting him. And he was at the front. Yeah, it looks like it's just the same backpack, isn't it, as well? Yeah. I thought they'd done something special to the backpack, but I think it's pretty much the exact same scenario. I'm just gonna have a quick butchers at the. Yeah, there we go. No, it is a different backpack. They have done a different backpack. That can't be the case, because it looks taller, and the actual from, oh no, it might be the same, but it might be the same. There we go. I'll hold it there. It looks like the crossbow is smaller on that backpack. See what I'm saying? The one on the retro looks a lot smaller on the backpack, but it's got to be the same one, says Jeremy. It just looks bigger here on this particular version I'm holding on the screen than it does on there. It looks like it sits lower on the top, but maybe that's just his secondary that's kind of making that illusion. Yeah, it's the same. Sorry, I got all excited then, thinking they'd done some sort of retool that wasn't necessary. Um, so yeah, so effectively, what we're getting is the rifle, then, really, isn't it? And the secondary that he's wearing, because the pack, that's the retro Snake Eyes one, isn't it? That also comes with who else does it come with? Who else did it come with? Why do I keep forgetting things? It's like I'm getting older. No, I tell you what it is, Jeremy. It's because on that image on screen, it's because the secondary is making it look like his backpack is taller. In actual fact, his backpack does stop at the top of the crossbow. So I was getting confused, but it is the same. It is definitely the same as the Cobra Island one. But again, having this figure in hand and holding him, I'm just like, oh, come on, it's great. But I'm glad we're getting this one. I really am. And you can also see there's a very kind of clear difference in the color. This is a very kind of like almost like a very true green, isn't it? This one. And that one has got that kind of teal implementation to it. You can definitely see that it's way vintage in terms of the color, that tealy green. They've gone real close to it. It doesn't have the perfect teal that this one does, but it's definitely closer than the Cobra Island one. So that's cool. Snake Eyes and the Diver, yeah, Wilfredo. I thought Snake Eyes was that made for Snake Eyes, because I thought that satchel came out before, but I may be wrong. Yeah, I think that satchel is definitely for retro Snake Eyes and only retro Snake Eyes. Yeah, and the Diver, of course, now. But now I think it's being reused for this one, which is great. So, in what is effectively like the figure, obviously, is very new. So it's not like they needed to do a new backpack when the backpack is very similar to what we want. And getting the proper rifle in there, awesome. I don't know. I'm just really excited for this one. Really excited. Yeah, and there's the shot, like I said before, and here he is in his kind of card. Big shout out to His Tank for the images on this one, by the way. There were a lot of people taking images. I posted images from MC Collector 24, MCU Collector 24 on Instagram. I posted images from Stephen MC from Toy Kind of Mood, who was kind of like the ATKM kind of, and Black Genghis was there as well, representation, kind of taking footage and all that kind of good stuff. So big shout out to A Toy Kind of Mood as well. But yeah, a bit peeved with the green weapons still. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't do them in that kind of grey color on the vintage. I'm surprised that, yeah, why is the question on that one. Maybe like in terms of keeping costs down, I don't know, like, just having this running the same crossbow in that color made it easier for them to do. I don't know, not sure. Less deco operations, I guess, but if you're casting it in a certain plastic, it doesn't really matter. So I don't know why they didn't do that, but effectively, how easy is that going to be? Like, you could just repaint the weapons. Probably the easiest thing you could do, customizing wise. I do like the green, but like Firefly, I prefer the classified version. Interesting. Conflicted. Conflicted if I really need this version, says Dan Stars 1. Oh, you need it, mate. Passberg says, I can't remember. Did they ever mention why they didn't put the white border on? I open my stuff, so no biggie for me. No, not yet. But I have asked this question, and Emily was like, oh, I think it's got the white border, and it didn't have it in the end. So I think it's an error on whoever's doing the cards at final kind of like situation. I think something has not happened as they wanted it to, because we had the border on Cobra Commander. I don't know why all of a sudden they didn't add that. But how annoying is it going to be now if we go forward and they have the blooming white borders on some of them? I mean, it should be on these if it was going to be on these, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get white borders on the cards, which is really annoying because it just makes sense, and they just keep not doing it, and I don't know why. I don't know why. The magazine for SMG is grey. Is it? The magazine is grey, but the gun is grey. Oh my god, it is as well. Why did they do that? That makes no sense. I didn't even notice that. That's hilarious. Oh well. Um, yeah, I'm never going to understand why they don't do the white borders on these. We've only had it, like I said, on one figure, I think. Anywho, let side quest that. I will side quest that for later. Um, I'm really, really not feeling the art. So with that, the white borders become irrelevant to me. Oh yes, of course, past. Yeah, to match his chest. That's why the magazine is grey, because it matches the chest secondary. But why not make the whole gun the same color? That seems really odd, doesn't it? Really odd. But whatever. Someone in the packaging department probably hates the borders. It could be. It very well could be that. They could be looking at it going, I don't like it. But when we're like, guys, it's necessary. Without it, it looks wrong. It just looks wrong. I mean, even Super 7 nailed it. They got the white border on reaction figures. And like you look at them and it's like, yeah, that is a solid card. And the card art's pretty good as well, actually. Really like Jason Edmiston's work. But for these, yeah, I can see, Paul, that there's they've really struggled to capture the Garrido, Norham, Hart, whatever you want to say, Riches. They've really struggled to capture that like vintage look with these retro cards, and I don't know why. There are so many people, so many artists they can call upon who have done this over and over again. And I'm not saying like going back in the day to like, to get some of these, these guys into, for one last dance sort of situation. And obviously they can't, for some of them have passed away. But like in terms of like there are current artists that can do this style, and yet they keep going against that a little bit, like kind of create their own thing. And it's like I feel like they get really close to what is necessary with retro, and they just miss ever so slightly. But then again, if you go back to the start of Classified, I feel like they found a nice rhythm now with what people want with classified figures, right? And some amazing stuff, absolutely amazing stuff. But then with retro, it's always been, what do the fans want? Okay, we'll give them 55% of that. And then it's like, okay, well, that clearly didn't work. We're going to have to do something more or different. And then it's like, we'll give you 75% of it. And it's like, at the moment, with Beachhead, for example, I'm looking at that like a 98, 99% complete. If you throw in a white border and make the gun grey, we're in business. Do you know what I mean? It's like that minimal, tiny elements. But then you go to Snow Serpent, which we will in a bit later, and Eels, and it's almost like, well, we're going to give you 25% of what you want there. And it's like, yeah, that's true, actually, Parsberg. At least they don't have the joints drawn on the artwork, which was such a weird move, wasn't it? Such a weird move. Could it be because so many modern artists draw digitally now, and perhaps it's just a bit off no matter what? I mean, that is definitely down. That definitely comes into it, because I know that Adam Riches does amazing work with the vintage kind of recreation artwork, right? He's done brilliant stuff for the Nightforce stuff for Dan Klingensmith Jr. He's done obviously Nightforce Ripcord, which for me was the best card art throughout all of the HasLab carded figures. He nails it, and he paints it. So he does it traditionally, and then obviously transfers it, and then does other aspects kind of come into it after the fact. But he does a lot of it traditionally in order to capture that feel and just capture that. And I'm not saying give everything to Adam Riches, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like, yeah, do that. But then I feel like there are other artists that can do it as well. I know obviously there's probably like a time situation with that, but if we're talking 3 figures every now and again, I mean, come on, that can be done in, you can get ahead of the game on that one and get that artwork ready and done and on cards in a decent amount of time. Like I don't know. It is probably just a timing thing of just let's crank it out sort of feeling. I don't hate the artwork. It's just my response to what Paul was saying in the comments on the fact that he's not a fan of it. Have to say, I think I'm going to go exclusive retro and maybe keep a few key classified ones. I much prefer the retro versions and the aesthetics on the Black Star Ninja. That's totally cool. If it's buzzing your berries, then great. I couldn't think of a follow up for that. Plastic Bell says could be the placement of the bubble to the edge of the card causing them to nix the white border. Very true. Very true. Having to kind of like move these things around. But if you've done it with Cobra Commander, do it with the rest of them, is what I say on that one. It's great that the card back is the same thickness as the Legends now, though, Black Star Ninja. Yeah, it's a shame that they haven't done the border, though. Also, why not just use the damn vintage art, says Paul. Again, why not? Indeed. I think you could use the vintage art and change ever so slight aspects of it. But even when they've done that in the past with like the 25th with the club, it doesn't always, or it never really looked right, did it? Let's face it. It never really looked, when they did the change up from the original one artwork they already had, it never really quite looked right to me. Whereas again, if it was like a standalone piece, like a brand new piece from the ground up, like that Adam did, because he did a lot of those cards, a lot of the unique ones anyway, like 50 something, I think it was. It's crazy. But those that Adam did, I definitely prefer those to the ones where they've kind of got the original artwork and kind of made changes to it. Always looked better when it was just from the ground up. No one can draw like the Great Garrido. True. I have to agree with that, Will. I have to. Ryan says, I honestly don't care if there's a white border or not, because the scale of the card defeats any sense of nostalgia for me. True. Doesn't need to perfectly match the classified figures. I mean, the original art didn't match the O-rings in most cases either. Yeah, maybe there's more strict rules about that nowadays. In like false advertising and not leaving yourself open to kind of like frivolous lawsuits and things like that. I don't know. Anyway, separate accessory bubbles would make a lot of sense and would look cool, and just let them float in there. Not your stream, Chris, the Wondercon stream, which was lame. Oh, it's okay, Stygian. I know you can say this is lame if you want as well. That's totally fine. Chris, could you ask Emily all these type of questions on the next interview? I think questions like this are better as she can actually answer them when we get a reply. Yeah, I mean, I do. We've talked about the white border in the past. This is not new to the interviews I've done with Emily and Lenny, but I will probably press them on it and say, what happened to this, and this? I will also ask about, why there wasn't, was there a reason they didn't, include accessories with Snow Serpent, retro accessories with Snow Serpent? I can understand with the eels, because I feel like it is a perfectly fine thing to reissue a figure that a lot of people struggle to get hold of. There is nothing wrong with that. And this is a great way of doing it. And I think if you've got, you didn't get any eels, here's a great opportunity for you to get some. And if, and the differences are so slight that it doesn't matter if you're getting one on retro card, but if you've got, if you want to army build with your other eels, they're so slight, the differences, that it creates an ever so slight variation that kind of looks cool, but isn't like terribly, blown out of proportion. Plastic Battles, get the high-res touched-up scans from Carson and use that. These recreations are fugly. Yeah, we get it, mate. You do not like it. Yeah, the 25th. I know. Yeah, I just mentioned the 25th. It was not good a lot of the time. There's a lot of there was a lot of stuff that you kind of look at now and you go, wow, it really was a bit, hokey. I'm looking at two pieces of 25th art as we speak, because I have the A6 sneakers, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow sneakers. And they both feature the 25th version artwork on the boxes. And again, that Storm Shadow V2 artwork is probably one of the best ever in the vintage era. It's a beautiful piece of art, the kind of like using the bow, kind of like just gorgeous. The 25th one is all right, but the changes they had to make to it are quite significant to match the bow that he came with, to match the detailing on the actual and body and everything, and on the top that he's wearing. So it doesn't quite look right. And Snake Eyes is version 2 is very different to the actual version 2 original vintage artwork. But anyway, by the by, let's keep looking at Beachhead. So we got some nice close-ups here. Again, they've really recreated that 75 Ranger Battalion, 75th Rangers patch really well. Love it. And also placing it on the front, on the bicep as well, makes sense, because that's obviously what they did with the vintage figures. So, they're really trying in some, like I say, they try so hard in some places and not in others. And I don't quite understand why. And to a degree, I understand it. I know there's a lot more than just, hey, here's everything you want with this figure, because there's other things to take into consideration, like budgetary restrictions. Some things have to be sacrificed, logistics. I get all of that. I just feel like if you can't do it exactly as you want to do it, is it worth? You have to kind of say, is it worth doing at that point? And I still think they are, but I think that you could look at some aspects in other figures in the line plan of that time period, of that budget period, and you could probably go, that didn't need to happen, that didn't need to happen, and that didn't need to happen, and that would have been more acceptable, than this not happening here. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. But then again, it's difficult to look. It's easy for us because we see everything as it's finished. We see it all here, and then we go like, okay, here's something I have an issue with. And you're not going to please everybody. That's another thing. Some people don't care. Some people are cool with it. And like, this is great. I love it. It's just like my Beachhead, or just like this figure, or just like that figure. And other people are like Pat, for example, who will look at the minutia. I mean, we all do it. But Pat, I was only joking about Pat, but he's a good example of this. But some people will look at the absolute minutia of details and be like, I would have done it this way. And that's totally fine as well, because you're never going to get that. I'm never going to get exactly to 100% perfection what I want, but a lot of that is lost in my excitement of getting something anyway. So like, this Beachhead has literally been perfectly fine for me the entire time, and I've even got his beret on still. And I absolutely love this figure. This comes out and I'm like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I want that. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, I figure that there's like a lot of, there's a lot of details that you're never ever going to get perfect to what you want as a person, as an individual, because that stuff just doesn't. You might find yourself in like little groups that agree, and you're all like, oh, we could have done with this or that. But when I'm talking like joint placement and friggin', like a detail that's on a secondary or something, like ever so slight thing that they've added, and it's just like, oh, it doesn't work for me anymore. It's like, wow. So like I get it, but I also like feel like you're never going to get perfection, are you? Ever. And also we're looking at this, like I said, in the end game. We're looking at it in hand, or like the final product. We're not seeing everything that goes into it. And even when we try and ask and we go into those details and we talk about it, people aren't interested. And it's proven because we do very cool interviews with some of these people. We get into details about design and about logistics and about like, little bits and pieces. They even talk about it on, what do you call it? On live events of their own. And people don't care about that. They just want the next reveal. They want the name only. They want the render. They want the figure. They want the pre-order. And it is like an insatiable kind of like, we just want this. I don't care about any details. I'm going to complain about something, even though if I just spent 5 seconds listening to why, I might understand it a bit better. But even so, with all of that said, there are still moments when I look at them and I go, I don't know why that decision was made. And I can't look at it and go, this is the reason for that decision to be made. So I see it from both points, is basically what I'm getting at. Anywhosen, yeah, Beachhead looks great. Like close up on the backpack and the it looks like it is a brighter green for the, like a lima green almost for the crossbow. So this one, the original one is that kind of like very true kind of green, and that one is definitely limier. Limey could be the lighting. Um, it's definitely the same backpack though. It's so funny that they didn't do the rest of the rifle in the same color. I don't know why they didn't do that. Not sure. But yeah, there you go. There's all the other bits and bobs he comes with. His secondary on his back is way more it's way more complicated on the original Cobra Island one. Look at all the detail on the Cobra Island one. Different panels, different like textures, different colors as well, and different like detailing on it. It's really, really interesting, the Cobra Island one, if you've never really paid any attention to it. And this one, they've gone definitely like yeah, you've got panels, but it's all the same texture, all the same deco. And it's fine again because it makes sense with what the figure looked like, and that's what the figure is, that's what it is. So it's totally fine. Mind who you call a limey, says Dan Stars one. I can say the word limey because I'm a limey, aren't I? I feel like once the figure is out, there's no excitement left, unfortunately. It's hard to maintain. Name only, then render, then picture, then pre-order, then shipping, not to mention leaks. Yeah, Pat mentioned that, didn't he, past the pierogi, where he was kind of saying, like, it feels like when you finally get it, it doesn't really matter. Like, because you've seen it everywhere for ages. And like, it's just been like, there's no, you're right, there's no, like, the excitement's kind of drained out of you a little bit. It's nice if you can get it early. That's what you really need. You know what I mean? I know you're joking, Dan. It's totally fine, mate. Beachhead, we need to discuss your deodorant. I don't use any. Exactly. I will never admit what I've paid for Blue Eyes and Brown Eyes Cobra Island Beachhead. I got lucky. I got lucky because I got, thankfully, the wonderful Fred Axon on the day that Beachhead was released for Cobra Island. Fred and I were in kind of contact and saying, like, hey, you go to these targets and I'll go to these. So we basically split up. He did like the north part of the area and I did the south part. And we ended up hitting every target in the morning of the day they were supposed to be in, right? And in fact, it was before that. It was when we started getting news that they were showing up before the street date. So we went out. I drove around to a couple and was, really like getting nowhere. I finally got to this one place and I went in and I was like, "Hi, do you have any?" And I looked at the peg and I saw the peg was ready for taking for the figure to be on. And I went to the person who was working in the aisle at the time. I said, "Oh, don't suppose you could check on this figure for me, could you?" And they went, "Yeah, sure." They went back. They looked while they were in the thing with me and said, "Oh yeah, we've got some in the back. I'll go grab them." Went in there. No, actually, I tell a lie. It was the street date. It was the day of the street date. 100% it was. And she came back out and she said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. They don't go live until this date." And I looked at the date she showed me and I went, "That's today." And she went, "Oh, no." And she was kind of looking around, basically trying to say, "No, we can't sell it to you." Even though the date she showed me on the thing was today's date, that day's date. So effectively, I didn't want to get into an argument and I didn't want to be like, that guy. So I just went, "Okay, well, thank you anyway." And then like left. And I told Fred, and Fred went, "Right, I'm gonna go in and see if I can get someone different." So he went in after I did. I was already at home at this point, and he got a different person, and they went in the back and they got two beachheads for him. So he came over to mine. It was like doing a deal in the car park outside our flat at the time. And he pulls up and he's like, "There you go, dude." And I'm like, "Thanks so much." Got that, paid him, obviously, and then went our separate ways. I got all excited, got beachhead out, really, really loving the figure. And it was is this the brown eyes or the blue eyes? It's the brown eyes. And then later on, I got the opportunity to get another beachhead. And I can't remember what the situation was. I think someone was either selling it and like online or sending it to me or something. Or I got it online, or maybe it was one of the ones I'd pre-ordered, that came through eventually. And when that came in, it was the other eyes color variant. So it was the blue eyes. And I was like, "What?" So I got really lucky with mine. So I got both. My two figures are a blue and a brown eyes. So I got really lucky with that. Anyway, so there's Beachhead's butt. I thought I'd get a nice shot of his but yeah, again, like you can see the texture on his pants texture. And then another shot from the side as well. They kind of look like they've been posed as two ups here, don't they? The best one's the eel, man. Eels looks like it is definitely in that two up pose with the arms out a little bit forward. Hilarious. Same thing happened to me with Mutton Junkyard at Target, says New York Night 1974. Yeah, you get there, and do you know what was funny? I'd heard a story that some Target employee just got absolutely destroyed by some a-hole kind of customer who was basically screaming at them to get them the figure out the back because it was the street date and just really being nasty and horrible and mean. And I saw this story and I was like, I am not going to do that. If they say I can't have it, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to try and get it another time. At that point as well, I was kind of in the mindset that, hey, we'll see these all over Target at some point. No, we will not. But anyway, hilarious. That's Beachhead. Let's get into Snow Serpents now. Snow Serpents. Now I know a lot that all of the issues with this one. It's not the deco's great. It's a great deco for this particular figure and a one that's going to look really cool with your kind of your Snow Serpent kind of like infantry squad leader or officer. It's going to be great. I'm really kind of excited to see them a couple of these with that Snow Serpent. And again, making these an army builder, no brainer. And I think everyone was really happy with that because the deluxe you're not going to army build. That was like what, $35.99. It's a bit more expensive and you get all that stuff with it. So it's like that's on its own. We know we're going to get these later on as troops. Didn't know it was going to be retro necessarily, but that's what we ended up with. And that's great. It's like cool, bit of variation, and we can get a bunch of these. Brilliant. Easy peasy. Why on earth this doesn't come with the retro accessories is beyond me, because I feel like worst case scenario, the tennis shoes would the tennis racket snowshoes would, and the mortar, and you've already got an AK in the line, and then the backpack doesn't have to be the retro backpack. Give us the dusty repaint, it's fine, that's cool. But for the rest of it, I feel like you're not going to really get what you need here. The other thing is, I will say that I do to some degree agree with Lenny when he says, well, that rifle is in the line, so you can always take it and put it with this figure. And that's totally cool as well, honestly. Yeah. And we're going to get two Sarges. We've got Sarge already. And he doesn't really make sense with an AK-47, honestly, in my opinion. So that's going to go with the Snow Serpent straight away. If you're going to get the Marauder Sarge as well, which has been leaked, we've seen the images, then that's also coming with an AK. So throw that one to another Snow Serpent. You've got your Sarges. They don't need AK-47s, but these might do. So minimum, we get the AK with this. I'm not that fussed about the mortar because it's bonkers. It's like a missile on a stick. It doesn't make any sense. Like I'm not that fussed. But the tennis rackets would have been a nice touch. Tennis rackets and an AK, and I would have been cool with not having the mortar launcher, honestly. But I feel like it would have been awesome to have. Yeah, but it's not about buying another figure, in this case, Black Star Ninja. It's not about that. It's about a figure you probably have. I get what you're saying about if you want that rifle, you have to go out and get that figure. If you don't have it, yes, you do. But let's face it, most of us that collect classified have those figures. Let's face it, it's already happened. We've already bought that figure. We already have that AK-47. We've already bought multiple officers. We have AK-47s. We have plenty of them. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. There might be the odd collector here and there that hasn't got those particular figures, but for the most part, both of them at the same time as well. I mean, come on, everyone has those figures. It's not like you're going out and having to buy other figures. Some people might, though. I'm not saying you're wrong on that sense, but not everyone is doing that. I'm certainly not doing that. I'm going to be getting that AK, which is on the floor next to the Sarge, because I don't think it looks right with him. I'm going to be putting that with the Snow Serpent. Done. I get it, though. I understand that, I feel like that really should have been it incorporated with the Snow Serpent, and you'd have been halfway there. You know, you'd have been most of the way there if you didn't want to do the new snowshoes and the backpack and the what's it called missile, then or the launcher, then give us the AK you already have, and then the rest of it, I think people will just be like, oh, it would have been great. It's a missed opportunity. But at the moment, there's nothing with this guy that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't look like a Snow Serpent because he doesn't have the gear that you kind of want to kit him out with, which is kind of weird, isn't it? Um, Again, I'm talking about this from both points of view, Black Star Ninja, but not everyone buys two retros and keeps it carded, or buys one retro and keeps it carded. Most people will buy them and open them. I think most people will. And it's not matching your retro figure, but it is at the same time. I mean, it's a white and blue Snow Serpent on a retro-ish looking card. It's not exact, but that's what you're getting. And like, I get that on one hand, I'm talking about it from the point of view of my Snow Serpent doesn't have the loadout, not necessarily my retro card doesn't look exactly the same as the original retro card. None of them do. The art we just talked about for the last 10 minutes before that, none of that art looks like retro card stuff. So you just put it on display with the rest of them and you have a display of retro cards. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look right, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter at that point. Like, you either get it or you don't. And if you are getting it, you're getting it. And if you're not getting it, you're not getting it. It just is what it is. All I'm saying is, like, from a display point of view, that AK-47 that's right there is going with my Snow Serpent. That's all I'm saying. Costed out. That's I mean, exactly what's happened here. They've had to make sacrifices somewhere with the budget. That's it. End of story. They want to put the what's the word? Emphasis, the focus on the classified line proper. That's clearly where they want to put their energy and the, all of the kind of like work and all that kind of stuff. I think if you're going to do like a new figure, like Beachhead, and again, that works really well, but that sucks away opportunities for the other stuff that's around it. I still think what should have happened, this is me personally speaking, if I was doing the line plan and we were looking at this and we're going, this is what it's going to look like, I would have been like, that Snow Serpent definitely needs some retro stuff. Eel is fine, is what I would have said personally. Eel is perfect. That's where we're not gonna have any issues reissuing that on a card. That makes sense to me. Snow Serpent is gonna need some work. Just a few little bit of retro pieces, plop them in there. Jobs are good. That's what I would say on that one. And then Beachhead gets the majority. Cool. But if you couldn't do that, which is clearly what the case was, I would have gone, hey, Snow Serpent, you come here. You're going to be put a bit further down the line. And I'm going to bring something else up, another troop builder, perhaps. Maybe if they do a trooper in the future, right? Bring that forward, pop that in there. That's where you're going to be, and you're going to wait until we can get more accessories for you further down the line. That's what I would probably have done personally. I'd have gotten something that we could get done mad quick without any changes, other than maybe like, what's the word? Like deco changes only. And I would have stuck that in there and then be like, they're your two troop builders. I don't know, maybe like a Steel Corps kind of figure would be cool as a retro card. I know we never came on retro card, but we do have artwork for a Steel kind of like brigade figure. So that would be really cool to do on the art on the card. And then you could, take off the shoulder guards, make a bit more, do again. That would probably take some work though, again. So maybe that wouldn't have fit in there as I wanted it to. But I think genuinely there would have been an element for me personally doing this where I'd have been, we're going to push you, Snow Serpent, until we can get those retro pieces done. And I'm going to put another person in here that makes sense. That's what I would have done personally. Hell, if I was doing it, I'd throw in the occasional retro card that wasn't your classic Garrido-esque black background explosion card. I would do every now and again a digital explosion. I would do, like a Python Patrol, Tiger Force. Well, not Tiger Force or Python Patrol because they're Target exclusives. But maybe when we get out of that theme, we could see like a Valkyrie on card. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Like a Python Valkyrie. But anyway, I'm digressing. I would do different cards basically. I would do different I wouldn't just do the same thing every time. I would do like a Sonic Fighters repaint and do Sonic Fighter card back. I would do Ninja Force character and Nunchuck, for example, stick him on a Ninja Force card back. Job's a good one. I mean, the card back alone would sell it to me, and it would be 6 feet bigger than the original. So I would do things like that. Do you know what I mean? I would give it more, like, I don't know, quirkiness, because otherwise it's just going to be the same all the way through. And that's where you can have differences in card back variations. Where you can't have differences in card back variations is on the actual classified series, where we have 47 different types of packaging currently. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like let's put it this way. I think this is the best way to put it, right? It's not perfect yet, but they're working on it. And I think that as we go, we're going to get more things in the retro line that make sense, that work, that look good, that we want, etc., etc. And I think it'll be fine, and I think they'll just improve on things. And who knows if this is like the snow surf. There's always something in the fandom that is like the biggest deal at the time, and then after 2 weeks it disappears. No one cares about it anymore, and that's usually because they do something about it in the future, or you've forgotten about it, and then they do something about it in the future anyway. I could see the Snow Serpent getting some sort of like redo with retro gear in the future. It could be like 2 or 3 years from now, but I could see it happening. Is all I'm saying on that one. And obviously, I don't know that because that's not the kind of information. I don't have information of like 3 years into the future. But anyway, let's look at the overall retro so far since Cobra Commander kicked off in the HasLab, right? That Cobra Commander is really cool, and it's a wicked retro release. Brilliant. Then you look at Duke, Scarlet, and Recondo. All wins for me. All wins. Duke and Scarlet get their kind of vintage stylings done, and Recondo gets his original deco. Perfect. Absolutely tick, tick, tick for me, personally. So great stuff. This wave, Beachhead, absolute winner. Eels is doing a job for people that didn't get the original Eel figure. And Snow Serpent is the only real sort of like, didn't quite get there, but we've got one. So if I'm looking at that overall lineup so far, I'm going, hey, that is like we're in the late 80s, early 90s in terms of percentage wins right now. Do you know what I mean? But that's all I'll say on the matter with this going forward. But yeah, I'm with you guys. Give me an AK, an original backpack, a mortar, and the snowshoes, and we are in business. But that is a freaking cool figure. The Snow Serpent is gorgeous. I love that deluxe one, which is over there. It's absolutely stunning. This is even better in my eyes with the deco for that aspect. That's better for the accessories you get and the cool stuff it comes with. This one, I prefer the deco. So I'm going to be like really excited to have this, like, this little team of snow serps. Anyway, they've kind of, this is like a real P take, this one, isn't it? It's like, we're going to do the pose where he has the mortar in the artwork. Yeah, gridiron. Let's just say that. Should we just say gridiron and spend like, I don't know, 30, 40 bucks on the loadout for this guy? That'll do. That's fine. Think Retro CC have Mickey Mouse Cobra logo. No, the Mickey Mouse Cobra logo is on the HasLab Cobra Commander. It's not going to be on the other Retro Cobra Commander. Do you know the 2 unannounced retros? No, Stanley. Genuinely don't. We have ideas, but we don't know. I would say this, right? Looking at the line, I can see 2 figures that would make sense for them to do in retro. I could see them doing the Trooper, the Cobra Trooper, and I could see them doing Stalker. So that's my speculative guesses as to what those two unannounced Oki and Azrael, I think they are. Mainly because I look at Stalker and I think there's a figure that you could do a retro of without having to do anything other than deco. Take the scarf away, that doesn't need that for the retro. Give him like most of his other stuff, but not all of it, and you know, put him on a retro car with a new deco, and you're sorted. Flint and Breaker, not necessarily Flint past the pierogi, because Flint, I could see them doing. Yeah, I could see them doing Flint as like a new figure from the ground up. Breaker, yeah, I mean, I guess you could do a Breaker with his retro accessories, but as we've found out here, whether this will be one of those things where they look at it and go, okay, people weren't happy we didn't do retro accessories with this figure. Let's do that in the future. Maybe that's how they view it, right? But I would suggest that like in terms of like easy things to just knock out right now, Trooper, Stalker, they make sense to me because again, you're talking deco changes really, and that's pretty much it. Flint with the Duke treatment, basically, yeah, I could see that 100%. I could see that. Oh, for people that don't have access to get the hits, well, you're not going to get retro Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander again. They won't do it. The whole point was to put it in as an incentive to get the hiss tank. That's the situation that we're dealing with there. You're not going to get that, unfortunately, Carl, in the future unless you get it on the secondary market, which is extortionately expensive, unfortunately. Windblade says retro Wild Bill and Major Blood. Well, Windblade, that's a good shout because Major Blood, I know someone else mentioned Major Blood as well. Stanley mentioned Major Blood, Pastor Pierogi mentioned Yellow and Blue Blood. Yeah, so Blood was replaced in the line plan. We don't know how far it was in development though, but I would imagine it wasn't that far along in terms of development because they were able to switch it so quickly. So I would suggest that maybe Blood's a good shout though, definitely. I think I'd rather have Blood done as close to the vintage as possible on the retro cards and make some changes to him. Not great deal, maybe just the arm, because make that a little bit more like the vintage one. Not like as I'm not saying it's goofy, but not as exact as the one on the retro, the original vintage version, but like kind of keep a bit of kind of design flourish into that kind of style of arm. But yeah, there's loads of options, aren't there? Retro Hawk is a good shout with like an MMS. I could see that happening. Head with traditional eye patch as well, Paul. Yes, you're right. Traditional eye patch head sculpt for Blood would make sense, definitely. Retro might stagnate. Well, they're going to do new stuff in there, though. They're going to do new stuff, and they're going to do troop builders. They're your two things they're going to do in there. It just kind of makes a lot of sense for them to do that. And you're going to get some absolute bangers in the future once they get kind of going with it. But I think we've had it's been a pretty good lineup so far. I mean, who's upset about these? Like, other than the Snow Serpent, I don't really see much of an issue with any of the others at all. Obviously, yeah, the first lot, again, like Gung Ho was great. Lady J's accessories in complement was phenomenal. But for me, Destro, Baroness, there was just no point really for me. Just did not really see the point of those at all. I know there's that thing of like people want to buy those figures, but it's not like those figures are, well, I guess Baroness was difficult at the time, but how simple is she to get retro carded now? It's crazy. Like, I don't think they needed to do them, honestly. To me, the Snow Serpent loadout is the only problem at all with the retro line at all. Like, everything else has been wins. And like I said, I will die on the hill that the eel it's a good idea for them to do a reissue of this figure, ever so slight changes, so it's not too different, so that people have the opportunity to get that again, because lots of people didn't. That's what I'm saying with that one. My God, we've done an hour almost, and I haven't even got out of Snow Serpents. Okay, there's Snow Serpent. Here's your images. Amazing shots of this one as well. Again, like the figure looks great. I'm sorry, but the figure is phenomenal. The deco looks awesome. I love the blue, just gorgeous, just gorgeous. Absolutely, the black face mask and everything, and the goggles, just sick, bruv. Absolutely sick. I love it. Yeah, I'm into him, man. It just looks, it's kind of got Sunbow and comic vibes to me. Well, when I say comic, I mean Action Force Weekly vibes to me, like absolutely superb. Um, yeah, the snowshoes and all the gear. I love the fact they got the blue goggles as well. That's really nice as well. So I'm glad we've got the extra goggles in there too. Makes sense, obviously. Pistols, sure. Backpack, okay. Dusty's rifle, whatever. Desert versus snow. Is that what's happening here? But anyway, yeah, there you go. And a white stand, which is a nice touch as well. I like when they do that. I like when they do a different color stand randomly. It's like it's just a retro figure. Just because it's just because it's in winter gear, gets a white stand. It's like, would a retro Dusty, for example, get a tan stand? No, it'll just be all black. So I think it's quite fun that they do that. But I want to see that more often. I want to see cute color stands, just to make it a bit more interesting. I'm not a massive fan of stands. All my guys, all my figures are freestanding, and it's dangerous. I know it's all a little bit like wee, a little bit woo. Every now and again, one of them might take a tumble. I know. I just really like it. That actually, Dusty's backpack in white does look sexy. I'm not going to lie, and it's got like little black pouch. Is that pouches or canteens on it? I can't remember. I think they're canteens, but I really like that. Yeah, lovely stuff. Beautiful figure. I'm into this. I'm into it. But like I said, I'm with you guys on not having the retro accessories. We've talked about that in masses of detail already. Question for interview: will they sell stand packs? No, Stanley, they won't. They've been asked that so many. I mean, that has literally been since retro started. Before retro started, people were asking for stands, and they have been asked for like accessory packs, stands, etc. I feel like when they do deluxe sets, that's your accessory sets. I don't think they're going to do stands. I just can't see it. I just can't see them doing it. They would have done it by now, surely. Like, they have the technology. I don't know, actually, is the answer, but I don't think they will. I can ask them, but they're not going to, they're going to say we can't talk about stuff in the future, yada 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 yada. I can maybe, I'm going to say, people want lots of stands. Is that something you guys are aware of? And they can go, maybe yes. So we can maybe word it a certain way that makes sense. Retro dock for sure. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, totally. Two of the same shoes there. Yeah, Dan. They probably just, grabbed whatever they could. It's probably also not final as well, I'd imagine, because you're right. They have to be rights and lefties, don't they? Could you imagine if they actually came with the two of the same snowshoe? I'm just going to see if we see that here. No, that looks right. That looks like they're two of the different snowshoes. So it looks like they do exist. They just don't have them there in the in this kind of production kind of example or whatever this is model. It's not, I don't know if it's like a production sample or if it's just a painted model. It looks a bit painted model to me because it's like fixed in place and it's not really posed. So it's probably like a very early kind of like painted model. Paul says, can they just have a delivery truck drive through my neighborhood with boxes of stands and have one accidentally fall off the back of it? Yes. Anyway, yeah, there you go. And there's the card art. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like, I don't hate the card art. I just don't think it evokes the same. I mean, I think it's pretty dope art. I just don't think it evokes the same feeling as the original retro stuff did, the original vintage stuff did, sorry. But there is your snow serpent. Oh, and the card, I forgot to put the card back. Well, I didn't forget. I thought I'd put one example of a card back on because we don't, who cares at the end of the day? The file cards are hideous because they're like 57 different languages and you only get like a paragraph for each one. But we do get that cross sell. I really wish they'd increase the cross sell. Like, you've got how many figures in the retro series up to this point? Get that cross sell filled up. You know, you don't, and you could even have silhouettes for the ones that are coming. How fun would that? You see, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. I feel like that is a missed opportunity, and that's something that doesn't cost anything. There's no different in the cost. Like, increase the cost sell. Don't bother with the file card, honestly, or just do the file card smaller and the cross sell at the top and fill it out. Small cross sell images is fine. And you can have Lady J, Baroness, Gung Ho, Destro. I can't forget the others. Zartan, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, Crimson Guard, Duke, Scarlet, Recondo, and then them three. That's 14. 2 7s, 2 rows of 7 of cross sell, please, and thank you. I don't know. That's what I would go with. Not just getting 3 in the wave. It's not, you're gonna be buying all 3 of them anyway. That's probably so. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Whoever did the art for Serpentor and Mindbender should do the retro card art. 80s Toy Boy. That is not a bad shout because those pieces of art are very evocative of vintage artwork and are absolutely sodding gorgeous. It does look like it was designed in pub. It looks like I've designed this as a graphic myself for, like, we'll get to my graphics later, but it looks very similar. They're just copying me now. What, you're copying a crap designer? Nice one, guys. Anyway, yeah, big time. Mindbender might be the next retro since he's hard to get for some people. That is not a bad shout past the Pierogi. I think Mindbender is a good shout eventually. I think, who else would be a good shout eventually? Rock and Roll. There's one they could do with just deco changes. Pretty much, right? Deco change Rock and Roll. Maybe a secondary to make the cross. No, he's got it. No, you could definitely do a retro Rock and Roll. Retro Rock and Roll. Retro Dr. Mindbender is a good shout because of the difficulties in people getting him. And Serpentor, maybe could you do a Serpentor? Because that would be another use to a reason for them to use the tooling for the Serpentor figure. And I think they would. I don't think they'd pass that up. I think they'd probably all over that. Obviously, the Air Chariot, you're not going to do that on the cut. Could you imagine? Because that came in a box anyway, but like the original. But could you imagine? Just like the bubble is like 12 feet high, sticking out the front, covering most of the artwork, like a Stalker's version 2 figure back in the day when the artwork was tiny because you had the like kayak taking up most of the space. Just amazing. Chuckles is actually a good shout. Chuckles, isn't he? I mean, let's face it, they're all on the table. Anything that hasn't had Zorana is on the table. The Dreadnoks, 100% the Dreadnoks, and give us the backpacks for goodness sake. What a great opportunity to do that for us. Anyway, by the by, Eels up inside you. Now, I'm going to do some comparisons here because I definitely think that red is brighter. So what have we got difference here? We've got the Harpoon has blue instead of red. It looks like the Harpoon kind of bolt is, the same. I don't think there's any change there. Big Ben, yes. RKW is another version, yes. Version 2 Storm Shadow, yes. Oh, Jedi Ben, yes, please, on retro card. The tank obviously has a black Cobra sigil instead of the Eels, the new updated Eels kind of logo. So that's obviously very different. And the red is brighter, richer, deeper, I would say. It's more of a kind of dull matte red on the on this eel. Just to kind of give you a idea of what I'm talking about. It is almost certainly a bit brighter, I think. Or a deeper red is what I'm trying to get at. Not brighter, but deeper. Almost like a shinier red on the new one. Is anything else different? I think the helmet's probably the same. I think all the other bits of deco on there are the same. It's just the red, really, isn't it? Oh, actually, I would say the grey of the armor also looks a little bit kind of brighter on that one in the images. Let's just get another shot of him. There. that again, it could be the lighting, but I'm pretty sure that the grey is a little different as well on there. Even the sigil looks a little bit stronger. Well, then again, when you get the light on it, it does look very similar. But definitely does look like a red difference there, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about with the pose. That is the 2-up pose right there, isn't it? The kind of arms sticking out. When they were doing this with the retro, like the 3 3/4 figures, oh, that was hilarious. That was so funny. But yeah. Well, Tony said there are differences in the color, so they're going to be different. They're 100% they're going to be different. We just don't know exactly unless we're comparing them side by side. We won't know yet. But like Eel's difference will be that the harpoon will come out of the box straight. God, there's the thought, Luke. I don't even think that'll happen. See, people are already talking about getting multiples of these. It's like the eel is a very popular figure and an amazing troop builder. And like I said, this is the perfect spot to do a reissue for me. Now, eels is done. We've got eels up inside us. Let's move on to the ferret, because my God, I did not expect the wheels. Look at the wheels. I did not expect the wheels to be this size. It is huge. This is going to take it to another price point, I think. I think we're going to go from somewhere between the Trouble Booble and the Vamp. So I would probably say about 65 is where I'd probably say this will be. That's my guess. I think it'll probably be a 64.99 job. It looks amazing. It is huge and it is gorgeous. I don't care what anyone says. This is an update. This is an upgrade of the highest order. This is a glow up of the original Ferret, which is a dope little vehicle anyway. But my goodness, I love this. And there's loads of little details which we didn't really pick up on last night, but there's a bunch of different things on here that I really like about this. Windblade says I'm going to go 70 to 75 in terms of the. It's possible. I'm going to say 65 optimistically, but yeah, you could be right. MIS1 says 59.99. I think that's very optimistic. I think it'll be less than the HMS, probably. But it could be the same as the HMS. You could be right. It could be the 75 mark, 74.99 with that. Could very well be. I was literally just throwing out what I felt like. It felt like a 65er, but it could be more. Yeah. But again, this thing is phenomenal. The wheels look beautiful. Like I really love the design of these wheels. We can see that is that a working winch? Has he said? I don't know, but it looks pretty good. It looks like it could be real, It could be a working winch. In which case, get it? I can't believe they've done that. That's incredible. I mean, I know that they just seem to be going like ham on vehicles. Ham and cheese on vehicles. It's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Anyway, sorry, I'll stop gushing now. Gross. I'm hoping that the what do you call it? The wheels on the front turn when you do the steering wheel, and I hope the steering column also operates the guns movement at the front too. That might be a little stretch, but it's not like it's impossible, and it's not like it's it's engineering, but it's not impossible. I mean, they did it in the vintage era 1,000 years ago, millennia of years ago, before there were toys. They can do it now. The detachable cannon is dope, and we'll talk about that as well. I love what they've done with that. So anyway, not sure about the winch, but we've got removable missiles, and I'm not sure if the steering column works with the wheels. I can't, because obviously every shot the wheels are, I think, straight, so it could be that they don't have that, and it won't be a deal breaker, but it will be a slight. Oh, the retro Snow Serpent doesn't have its retro accessories. Disappointment. Full Force. Have you heard of the Hot Wheels Transformers collaboration? I have, Dominic .z or Dominic.z from Germany, I'm guessing. But no, I have. But yeah, and I when I heard about that collaboration, I instantly thought, oh, I wonder if maybe GI Joe might get involved in that as well. So I'm still kind of waiting to see or hear news about the GI Joe being also into that, but we'll see, I guess. But yeah, I have heard about that, and that was a few months back, wasn't it? That dropped. But yeah, what are your thoughts anyway, Dominic? Let me know why you're bringing that up, because I'm interested to hear what you're leading into. Is it maybe kind of like GI Joe vehicles in Hot Wheels form? Because yeah, oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, people are saying like, yeah, Paisano, I'm good with straight wheels. Yeah, it's not a deal breaker. It really isn't. I just kind of feel like it'd be kind of cool that it mimicked that action feature. Moving through the images though, oh, the Ferret Scout is so cool looking, and I'm really digging the color and the deco, and the helmet looks cool. Interesting break of color break, so like the white and the black and the blue seems like a lot on just the helmet, but again, it's cool. It separates those design elements quite cleanly, and yeah, I'm quite into that. Dominic says, full force. I own the Jada Toys 132 Stinger, and I absolutely love that collaboration, Hot Wheels X Transformers. Yes, the Jada Toys stuff is phenomenal. I'm really upset they're not really churning them out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really love those little vehicles. I love mini vehicles. I love mini figures in general. And I was really into the Jada having that license, and they just didn't really continue with it, which was strange. I think distribution had a massive effect on that. They didn't get the distribution. It was in the middle of like the worst period of time for that kind of stuff anyway, and it just felt like everything was a mess, and some places would get loads of stuff and some places would get none of it, and then you ended up with like backlogs of stuff where people like had already got it in that area and didn't need 20 cases of it, and then people that didn't have it were struggling to find it in stores, and rather than distribute it evenly, it just seemed to kind of like get kind of lost in translation, and you end up with loads of like loads of stuff that didn't really get done, which is a shame. Full force fun fact: the German distributor for Jada is Simba Dicky Toys. Didn't know that. Did not know that. Someone's asked me, is this the Valkyrie Trooper repainted? Don't really know the details on this design yet, or this build. I think there are Valkyrie elements, but I think there's some new stuff on there too. New secondary, obviously. But yeah, I think it's probably Valkyrie mostly in terms of the base figure. It could be the Hiss driver though. Again, I have not done my due diligence. I haven't looked at them in detail, but these images are giving us that opportunity now, so I don't have a choice really, do I? I'm going to have to do that. I love this shot as well. Great shout out to Matt Cohen as well, shooting the Galaxy, who we are lining up an interview with. We have connected. We are going to be doing that soon. I love this shot. Bloody brilliant. Bloody brilliant. I love the motocross chest protector and helmet. Chef's kiss. Yeah, 80s toy boy. I didn't even think about that, but obviously the helmet I know is motocross, but I didn't know that the chest protector was very synonymous with that kind of design and style as well. That's really cool. Oh, we'll get this. We'll get Black Star Ninja. We'll get this Tiger Force, won't we? You know we're getting a Tiger Paw. You know we're getting Tiger Paw, definitely. I don't think they do I don't know if they do Duke Tiger Force so soon. But you never know. They might do it in the future. With the retro one. Do you think the helmet might be swappable with a certain Cobra driver who is also clad in grey? You're talking about the Stinger driver, aren't you? I don't know. I guess they're going to have different size heads if it's a Stinger driver male. Do you know what I'm saying? Speaking of that, let's just go through these images. Now, this is really cool. So detachable rear cannon, which, as you can see, has like a clip, like a C clip on the back, which obviously is then articulated on the rifle, so on the weapon, so it can move in multiple directions. But I think that they clip it onto the back of the kind of rail on the back of the Ferret. You can see it's on the farthest back point, which means you can probably clip it to any of those railings, I would imagine, that are like in front of it, on the other side. So you can have that weapon on either side, advanced, further back a little bit, all the way to the back a bit. I think that's dope. And it's still pretty big. That cannon is pretty long. It's not as ridiculously long as the original, but did you really want that? Did you really want it that long and also a bit stupid when the figure picks it up? This is now allowing the figure to operate the weapon, which I'm just going to have another look at. Yeah, it does have that like handle on it permanently at the top. I thought it might fold down or something, but no, it seems to be there so they can hold it as a, you know, as like an actual weapon. So that's really wicked. Oh my god, I can't wait to get this vehicle. This is doing so many things to me. And I mean, the Ferret in general was such a good little vehicle. One of my favorite vehicles as a kid. I loved it. You know, I love the kind of rubber tires and the little like rubber seat that would the squidgy seat, which would plop in and out. Oh, I loved it. I loved that vehicle so much. I loved the features on it. I thought it was great. So yeah, I'm really into this. Will we be able to display two figures on it? Oh, I should freaking hope so. Look at the size of the bloody thing. Look at the size of the bloody thing. I mean, you're going to get two figures on that seat easily, easily. And yeah, I have no doubt the twins can sit on that, you know, bum to grundle, no problem. Yeah, you think it's going to clip to the stinger, the cannon, Stanley? Yeah, I mean, it could do. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to clip to all sorts of things. I think that the whole point of it is to allow it to clip to other things. I mean, it's got a little bit of Ore Striker vibes to it, does it not? Paint that. I tell you what, paint that green, same kind of connector on the roof, and you've got an Ore Striker cannon. Who agrees with me? Because that probably would be about the right size for an Ore Striker cannon as well. I'm just saying. Looks Ore Strikery to me, that cannon. And then Roadblock can hold it when he pulls it off the top of the vehicle. They might do something closer to it though, like that kind of, because the barrel's a lot wider, isn't it? And got that kind of like different design. I don't know. Just kind of shooting ideas out at this point. But no, absolutely stunning. I like the fact that the console has a tampo on it as well. It looks like it's got like a little readout on it too, which is really nice. Didn't even give that a second thought. But obviously, this is the first time I've really looked at the pictures, though, like the images. Now, this shot of RoboCop, and I say that because this is clearly what we saw in that Vamp image, wasn't it? All those moons ago, the promo images for the Vamp, and everyone thought it was the Stinger driver. No, it was 100% the Ferret Scout. We should have known. We should have gone with the most obvious answer because we were seeing the Ferret in all of the backgrounds as well on the box art and in one of the images for the promotional kind of images. And so we'll come back to this image shortly because I've got the old images up that show that, so we can really kind of like ram that home. The ferret driver there has got a knife too. So I'm just wondering, do we know what the full complement of accessories are with that render? Because the render tells us, doesn't it, basically everything that it's going to come with. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, one knife, two pistols. Yeah, cool. So that's good. Just wanted to double check that. Yeah. Oh man, this thing is gorgeous. I mean, like when you look at that render, you do not think the wheels are going to be like ridiculously huge and wide. They're pretty big on the vehicle, but not from the you know, from the width aspect. Oh, I just love the fact they stick out so far. This is great. This is great. And then we've got the two of them just kind of giving the old "ee," and the kind of cannon is like fully upright as well, so you can really articulate the crap out of that. I don't know if you can do like kind of that kind of way, but it's definitely going to go up and down like that. Definitely, brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. That is a wicked figure as well. That scout is such a cool design. I'm really into that. So cool. Okay, so there are your images. This is what I wanted to show. This was the shot that I even thought this as well. I'm not gonna lie. I thought maybe we might be seeing the Stinger driver, but no, it turned out to be the Ferret Scout. Clearly now you can see like 100% what you're looking at. 100%. even the chest piece is very prominent and obvious now. You know, everything just makes sense. The red is the blooming giant gun she's holding. Just brilliant stuff. So I just wanted to bring that back and go, hey guys, look, how crazy were we thinking this was a Stinger driver when in actual fact it was the obvious answer, look, staring us in the face the whole time. Lovely stuff. And then I just wanted to look at the art on the vamp box and just be like, it was nowhere near this, was it? I mean, like, that is effectively like a kid's drawn it from memory, because it ain't look nothing like what we're getting. And I think really that what we're looking at there is effectively a render from the original Ferret. And, you know, also looking at the figure, it's very much in progress in terms of, in fact, the deco is negative. It's flipped. You've got grey gauntlets where they've got blue, and blue arms and body where they've got grey. So that's kind of interesting that there's like a variant deco on the vamp artwork, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, we'd all pointed out at some point, Scott, that we thought it would be the Ferret Scout on that other image. But after a while, it was getting to the point where we're like, oh, could it be the Stinger driver? And yes, but you're right. I mean, it was also the fact that we were looking at this and going, well, most of the figure's blue, most of that figure's grey. You know, there was a reason for it. Is Xandar a regular or deluxe release? Says Pastor Pierogi. He's regular release. We'll get to that in a second. Actually, I do have that on the old panels, so we'll have a look at that in a second. He is a regular release. He's one of the 4-figure mainline wave figures. He is, what is his code word? It's either Homer or Marge, I think. We'll see in a second. But anyway, I mean, what we're looking at, an original Ferret on the left, is effectively what they did. They were just working from an original Ferret in terms of doing this kind of like quick little background thing. This is what we're getting, and I couldn't be happier about it. Oh my bloody goodness. It's phenomenal. And then I just wanted to have a close up of clearly we're looking at a grey model of the helmet there that was in the sand. And so it didn't really give us the deco that it actually turned out to be. But it's really cool that it's going to be black, kind of that's kind of off-white and that blue, all going on at once. But again, like, that helmet's wicked, isn't it? Phenomenal. Homer, says Jeremy. Yes, Xandar is Homer. Yeah, I think you're right. It's Homer and Marge, says Will. Xandar is androgynous. Yes, 100%. I'm definitely going Xandar by Christmas. It's definitely happening. I'm not like really working hard, but I'm definitely getting better in terms of the body that's going to be on show when I do Xandar as a cosplay. I'm going to have to start doing weights at some point though, because I'm so, what's the word? You know, I'm really self-conscious when it comes to showing off my body. What? I'm just going to I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so yes, the helmet, I just wanted to get those two side by side and show you that was the grey model we were looking at before. Now, all of these are going to be available on the 4th of April for pre-order, and that's what we expected anyway. And that will be that Entertainment Earth drop zone bit, won't it? So that's really cool. Chris will have to wax for Xandar. I'll shave. I'm not going to wax again. I have had my back waxed in the past multiple times, and I don't know why I kept going back. My friend did it once my friend's. So I was around my friend's house, and his partner at the time had her own studio, like her own in-house kind of. She worked from home as a beauty therapist, and she said, "I'll wax your back if you want." And we were joking about it because I was talking about how I had a hairy back. And I was like, oh, okay. So randomly that day, she just waxed my back, and everyone, like, with all the friends were around as well. So they were all in there laughing at me while I had it done. And it was hideously painful. Hated that. So then I did it again. I don't know why I did it again. I did it again like a few years later. And because I would shave my back anyway, I'd get like a trimmer. It's not crazy bad, but I just don't like it. I don't like having hair on my body. I don't even like it on my face, believe it or not. I have to have this, otherwise I look really like chubby and young. I want to have that definition in my face, and the only way to have that is to have this beard. But when, like, yeah, so I have had it twice, and it was awful. And the second time was probably a little better, but it was still terrible. So I'm not going to do waxing. I'm just going to shave it with a trim, like a like a hair clippers sort of situation. I've got a Manscaped. This isn't a sponsorship, but I have got a Manscaped weed whacker, like the 5.0 or whatever it is. Anyway, I do have a weed whacker, as it were. Anyway, that's your lot for this. The other thing, obviously, that was mentioned, and I there was some things I kind of also forgot to mention last night when I'm talking to Travis about this, but I'm really interested in what we might get with this once a man Cobra Commander, and having given it a bit more thought, I'm definitely thinking there's going to be, like, they can utilize one right leg and maybe the waist piece from the and maybe the upper left leg of the original Cobra Commander figure, like the one that we've got, the retro one. So you can definitely get the right leg, the waist piece, and the upper left piece, left leg piece. And then I think you kind of have to go pretty hardcore for the rest of it. Like, I feel like you could probably do one arm. Well, the thing is, he has both arms out, doesn't he? One is kind of more than the other. So I would say you'd have to do a kind of like brand new torso. Maybe you just go full torso and arms, and then do, like, as the snake, and then do a secondary that covers it, like a ripped, torn secondary. And I think that is why that's what I was kind of thinking of last night in terms of what I would do in terms of a build. So you're utilizing the right leg, full right leg, the waist piece, and the top left upper leg, left leg of the original Cobra Commander, and the head sculpt as well, because you can use that one with the helmet. And then basically you're looking at a new torso and arms, new secondary, and a new lower left leg to go with it. And then, of course, a new head sculpt as well, with that crazy Cobra Commander, snake head. So I think that would be cool for me. I'd be well into that. You could maybe throw in. I'm trying to think of other things that would make sense for Cobra Commander. Maybe, because I assume we'll get Globulus at some point in the future as well. I don't know, by the way. That's not a wink, wink, nod, nod scenario. But I do expect, if we're getting Nemesis Enforcer, and we're getting once a man Cobra Commander now officially, and there's if like she's talking about this, and Emily's name dropping Pythona every 5 minutes, I'm starting to think Whip Snakes is the Royal Guard 2-pack. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the Whip Snakes 2-pack is Royal Guards. And if it is, I'm in. I'm so in. And then, of course, I'm so in. And then, so, and then I think Globulus has to be on the cards, probably as a deluxe or like a exclusive situation, right? Con exclusive. Now, the time worm has to happen for me. If they don't do the time worm on the little stick, then I'm done with the line. I'll never speak to Lenny again. But if that does come with Globulus, great. If it doesn't come with Globulus, but they stick it in with Cobra Commander, yay, that'd be fun. I know it wouldn't like make sense because it's not his accessory necessarily. So I'm just saying, if it's not done for Globulus, but even this might be coming first. So, well, it would be, wouldn't it? Because we don't know if Globulus is coming or not. And if Globulus is coming, he might be on that list we have in 2025. And if he is, maybe this is on that list in 2025. It's hard to say, isn't it? But I definitely want a time worm on a stick. And also, that's a good point, Scott. Yeah, you could have it go into Globulus's eye. The little worm. Come on, that is the cutest thing in the absolute. Like, that is the most adorable thing in G.I. Joe ever, hands down. The little time worm. He is so cute. I love him. Going around that little thing, and his little face. He's got the cutest little face ever. It's the most adorable thing. And I'm so happy that he didn't get killed. This is my narrative. This is my thought. What happened? He threw the thing away, and the time worm like gets away, and then scuttles down into the bit underground and lives happily after the explosion happens. He's totally fine. He's not touched. He's absolutely fine, hidden down in the little space below. He's great. Yes, it counts as a pet. Yes, it does. But yeah. Chris, are you saying we have to buy a different figure for the accessories? Could it come with Retro Falcon? No, I'm not saying that. But Falcon needs to happen, doesn't he? Like big time again. We need to get that head sculpt right. I love the fact though, Scott, that you could stick the time worm accessory thing into the eye. In fact, they could make the time worm like come off that, and that'd be so good, wouldn't it? Little Fatal Fluffies are cute, but not. No, the time worm is more adorable than the Fatal Fluffy. Look at the face on a time worm, and tell me it's not the most adorable little thing you've ever seen. It's like a little. It's just going. It's so cute. It's adorable. Fatal Fluffies, the eyes are too big and they're too obvious. It's too obvious. But no, it's cool. If you like Fatal Fluffies more than you like the time worm, that's totally fine, Viper Scout. That's up to you, mate. Anyway, Cobra Commander mutated. That's what I'm thinking. I don't necessarily think. I know we were talking last night. We thought maybe it might be like a deluxe, but maybe like con exclusive and stuff like that. I think you could get away. I know there's going to be a lot of new parts, but it's not like he's going to have to come with a ton of stuff. And like I said, just the extra head and all the other new stuff is on the figure. So I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe you do it with Roblox and you do a retro Roblox with the eyes, kind of, blinded a little bit. That'd be really, really cool. Anyway, I'm into this. It's a great idea, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. I wonder if we'll see renders of this soon. I say soon. Yojo June. Yojo soon. March we're in. April, May. It's like 3 months away. No, it's not, because it's the end of March. April is so here. April, May, June. It's like 2 months away, Yojo June. That's crazy. Crazy. Anyway, leak listings, what do we know at the moment? We can probably like do some guesswork here a little bit, maybe, but we can't divulge Bam Bam yet, the fourth figure in that 4-figure wave, but I'm guessing that will be revealed over Yojo June when they do the next 4-figure wave reveal and pre-order drop and so on and so forth. Nemesis Immortal is Atlas Deluxe, and I would imagine we'll see something of that figure around Yojo June. I'm imagining in like render form, I'm guessing. But that one is just a standard deluxe figure. It's not like an exclusive or anything like that. Just your standard deluxe. So he's going to be a big old boy with Hossing great wings. Now, Highway Pet is Road Pig, so we know that he comes with an animal companion. We just can't tell you who that is. So that's just going to have to be a surprise, or when it gets leaked, or whatever happens first, that's when you'll find out. Unfortunately not from us, unless I make a mistake, which has happened in the past. Let's not get it twisted. You just have to go up a few spots to see where I've slipped up in the past. TNS Buttercup is Marauder's Sarge. And as far as we know, that one is kind of like one of those multi availability things. So that's what TNS effectively is referring to on that. So he should be available pretty much most places and some other place, like most everywhere that Marauder Sarge figure should be available. Scrappy, we don't know yet, but the fact that it's a Pulse exclusive with designation, it doesn't connect to Buttercup in any way, shape, or form, because it's Scrappy and it's the Scooby-Doo thing, but that's effectively what the Mystery Machine thing means. So it doesn't have to connect to Marauder Sarge, but I'm wondering if Scrappy is the Low Light Spirit 2-pack. Like, it might be, is all I'm saying on that one. Because we do know that Marauder's Spirit and Low Light 2-pack is going to be a Pulse exclusive. So the fact that that's the case, I'm thinking that Scrappy might be Low Light Spirit. And I'm saying that now because we've seen it's been leaked. It's not like a big deal, is it? For goodness sake. Now, as we move through, we know SDCC is Raptor. Cannot wait to see that one. Oh my God. That'll be when SDCC is on. So July, we'll see that one. Starduster is PulseCon, so we won't see that one until September, October. Like end of September, beginning of October. But again, excited to see what they do with that. The Ferret Scout is Scooby VEH, we know that, and that's going to be up as a Pulse exclusive for pre-order on the 4th of April. Fred DLX, we don't know what that is yet. We don't know what that is yet, guys. Not a clue with Fred. Could it be Cobra Commander once a man? I don't know. Probably not, because it felt like that name drop was a little bit sort of surprising for a lot of the team. And I wonder if that means it's like further behind in the development, if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, Vic Vicious 75, Bam Bam is not the Saw Viper. We know who the Saw Viper is, and we'll tell you in the next page. But again, we've revealed that already in the past. So yeah, so Fred Deluxe, not a clue who Fred Deluxe is. We just know it's a standard deluxe figure. Any pricing news on Ferret? We've kind of already talked about that Viper. I was having a guess at probably 65 to 75, either 65 or 75. I think. I don't think it's not going to be cheaper than that, and it's not going to. It's. I'd imagine it will fit in one of those two areas: a new price point or the HMS price point. Whipsnakes 2-pack. I've never been more like. At this point now, I think it's the Royal Guard 2-pack. Since we got the name-only reveal of Once a Man Cobra Commander, I'm thinking they're Cobra Laring it up this phase. Anyway. What next? Yogi, we know that it's Target exclusive. We know what it is, but we can't divulge yet. I'm hoping they do some sort of name-only reveal, but I don't know if they will. If they do, great. If they don't, we just have to wait until that one's revealed. Same with Zorak. Until we get a name-only reveal, I can't say who Zorak is, but that's a Walmart exclusive as well. An HB Blossom VH, we haven't got a clue. We just know that it's Amazon or Fanmazon based on the HB designation. And because of that, there's a possibility. I mean, there's a ton of possibilities as to what the vehicle could be in that space. A lot of people have talked about Vamp redecos, and obviously the Stinger comes to mind mainly because it's not Target or Walmart. Well, Target mainly because Walmart don't do a night. Would they do a Night Force Vamp? No. So I think basically we're probably talking. It could be that a Stinger might slot in there, but again, that's all speculative. Amazon or Fanmazon is all we know about that one. Retro Casey, we know, is Retro Cobra Commander. We just assume it's going to be the one with the logo switch from the HasLab thing. And Oki and Azrael, not a clue yet. Not a sausage. Chris, has Emily put anything up about what? She posted a video of the con, I think, but that was Hasbro really more than anything else. And she posted a video of the reaction at the thing. But what are you specifically referring to? What are you thinking she might have put up? I can't see. Hang on, I'm just looking at a page now. No, it's just the Wondercon video of the crowd. There's Phil. Hey, there's Phil. Sorry, just to get Phil in there. Shout out to Phil Donnelly. Articulated points. Great stream yesterday, Phil. Really appreciated that, mate. That was great keeping up with everything. Anything? No, yeah, she just posted the video of the Wondercon reaction. The glamour shots I just took off the screen. I took screenshots from the video they posted, which has all the sexy images. That's where I got the images from. So there'll probably be even better versions of those images posted sooner, like soon, maybe tomorrow. They'll probably go up, or they'll probably wait. Maybe they might wait till the actual pre-order and then start posting all on the socials and stuff. Right. So yeah, anyway, so then obviously we know Rough and Ready is the Action Marine and Action Pilot, and there are some more details for those to come out soon as well, but we can't say that. I'll just have to be a surprise. 2025 or 2025 as normal people say. Xandar, there you go, is Homer. Saw Viper is Maggie and is in the first wave of 4 retail figures in 2025. So Xandar, Saw Viper, Leatherneck, and Dial Tone are the first four figures of that of the first four-figure wave, and Frag Viper and Blowtorch are involved in the next four. Okay, so those are the unlocks that we have so far, based on the name-only reveals that we managed to use and unlock on these listings. Now, the other things we know are that Salvador Pet obviously is another figure pet set. We know that TT designation is Pulse or PulseCon exclusive designation. So much the same way that MM was Pulse exclusive, TT now takes over from it. And so Sewer Urchin, Terror, American Made, Arthur Deluxe, Mancow, and Red Scare are all likely Pulse exclusives. And Arthur Deluxe, we are probably pinning our educated guess suggests that Arthur Deluxe might be the PulseCon exclusive listing, because it's a deluxe that none of the others are. And if you go back to the last time that we knew about PulseCon and Pulse exclusives, Daphne Deluxe Starduster was the PulseCon exclusive. So just getting ahead of the thought process game on there. Gerbear Manke says, where is Law and Order? Grr. Well, Law and Order could be on that page that you're looking at right now. In all honesty, Law and Order could be one of those, and we won't know until we get more information. But I mean, who's to say that Salvador Pet isn't Law and Order? Do you know what I mean? That could be. It's always like the most obvious answer is always the right one, usually. Do you know what I mean? In these kind of cases, so it's high likelihood. If we are getting Iron Grenadiers, Iron Grenadier Bat, surely we get Iron Grenadier Destro with Despoiler. Black Star Ninja, I think it would be the dumbest idea not to do that. Figure vehicle, check. Destro Iron Grenadier version, check. People would go bonkers for that set. Like, absolutely bonkers. Like, how good that Destro is going to be. Like, phenomenal stuff. Chaz, that's a good point. The referring to why she didn't reveal any new Cobra team members like the WonderCon panel info suggested. We thought that it might have just been a copy error. It might have been one of those things that they changed their mind on. It might have been something that was because of the time limit they had. She might have forgotten to drop certain information. But I will ask her that question and see if there is any extra details they were going to divulge and decided not to, and maybe they can divulge on our interview. So that will be in April, that interview, and it will be soon. I'm just waiting for Emily to come back from WonderCon so we can organize the best time to do the interview. That will be happening though. Yet still no Zap, Flash, Short Fuse, Steeler, or Grand Slam in 2020. Well, we don't know yet, do we? I mean, it could be any of them. Look at the amount of red you're looking at. New York Night 1974. Any one of them could be one of those you just mentioned. Any one of them could be. Could still happen this early. Happy of 2025. Okay. They are following the 87 releases. We're getting a lot of 87 releases. Yeah. Any news on Footloose or Hit and Run? Nothing yet, Jason. But again, you could be looking at Amir. Do you know what I mean? We just don't know. And of course, Legacy is the other bit of information we know. We know that the Legacy listing, RR Tommy, is a 60th. I suppose Legacy is going to be the new term for 60th, basically, or at least in the code words environment. Because obviously 60th does become 61st anniversary, doesn't it, in 2025? So yeah. Anyway, and then we've got all that retro stuff, which we don't know yet. So we're just going to have to wait until we get more info on that as well. Right. That's everything on those. The other two listings that are kind of like floating about are these two selfie series listings, which again, we don't know if it is a planned and canned scenario, which is my feeling on it, or if it's a like relaunch of the selfie series. We just don't know yet. That'll just be one of those things where we just have to wait and see. But I think it's a high likelihood we're not going to see these happen now, and that the selfie series, we might have to give it a little while before it kind of comes back again, is what I'm expecting. But anyway, that's that. Now, what do we know officially? Name only reveals. I've added Once a Man Cobra Commander now to the list, so looking pretty strong on the Cobra side. We need another Joe. We need another Joe name only reveal, don't we? Just to kind of like well, fill that little space, but also give us some balance. But yeah, I'm excited to hear more. These, I mean, a lot of these are going to turn into what is a selfie series? Seriously, Zombie KLR 13? If you don't know, okay, Google it then. But selfie series was a, if you don't know, was a kind of series of figures where they did effectively a, you know, you would scan your head on an app and you would get your face on a figure, an action figure they would then create and put on, you know, a choice of figure body. And the choices were for G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, and Scarlet. And then for others, you had like, you know, like blimmin' Star Wars pilots and rebel soldiers and stormtroopers and stuff like that. And then for Power Rangers, you had Power Rangers, random Power Rangers figures, and Ghostbusters and all that kind of stuff. So you could get like your own head on a figure. That's just for Zombie KR LR13, who I'm not sure knows what selfie series is. But yeah, check it out. It was fun. Wasn't perfect, and I think it fell a little bit by the wayside because it wasn't. I mean, I had to tell. I mean, I got to tell you, for my selfie series figure, until I was happy with it, took about 30 goes before I got the right one. So it was definitely needs some finesse. I think the technology. But anyway, lots of cool stuff on the name only reveal stuff, and like I said, I've added Once a Man Cobra Commander to that listing. If we look at the digital renders now, that's changed. Yep, I updated graphics, guys. Can I get a round of applause? Thanks. Yeah, so it's these now, just these. Nightforce Ripcord, Glenda, and Nightforce Crazy Legs are the only remaining digital renders that don't have their own life as, you know, promotional images or figures for pre-order and so on and so forth. I know we've already ordered these, but we haven't seen the figures yet. So that's why they're still in the digital render phase on this graphic. Now, unofficial leaks. You added poorly drawn thing to the image. Unofficial leaks. We've got like, so now not only have we heard It's Chad talk about the Snowcat and the Thunder Machine, but we've had another source say that the Snowcat and the Thunder Machine are coming. Now we don't know if that other source is the same source from It's Chad. We don't know if they've heard because of the It's Chad news. We don't know if they heard because we reported on it. But effectively, we've got multiple different sources claiming that a Snowcat and the Thunder Machine are coming. With that just makes me really excited. We know they're not going to be HasLabs, so we just expect that they're going to be retail vehicles. Now, the Snowcat and the Thunder Machine could be on that blooming list that we were just looking at, that big, the 2025 all in red situation. We don't know, but I'm hoping to find out soon, honestly. Of course, we've got, if we go in just on the top row first, the Iron Grenadier Bat, which we also know is coming. My bad. I will always say that, but that was my fault. I slipped. And then, of course, going down, we know that the Marauders 2-pack and Sarge, they've been leaked visually, so we know the actual figures, you know, exist. And Retro Cobra Commander has been known for a long time now. And Heart Wrencher. Now, Heart Wrencher is probably, I would say, out of all of well, Iron Grenadier Bat, Marauders 2-pack, and Sarge and the Cobra Commander, I would put them at the top level. Know they're coming, almost like certain, like 100%, because we know that info, right? Then I would say Heart Wrencher goes second because we've got similar information, like source information, and we have the kind of leak to reveal that she was in that crew with, you know, Nemesis Immortal, with Road Pig, and with Starduster, all of which have been officially name only revealed shortly afterwards. So I'm pretty sure we're going to hear Heart Wrencher's name mentioned like soon at some point in time. Then I would probably put the Snowcat and the Thunder Machine just below Heart Wrencher on the list in terms of, you know, definite confirmations. But it's all looking really good so far with the unofficial leaks. Mark says they are coming. I heard it from Full Force. Can I count as another source, please? No. We're just telling you what we're hearing. Mark says this render page will last one day, before Emily gets to posting a Dragonfly update. That's so true. Hopefully we get that update soon, and then this becomes irrelevant, doesn't it? Anyway, that's your unofficial leaks as well. And that's everything. I'm going to call it a day because we've been doing this for 2 hours almost, and I'm going to have something to eat now. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this kind of like addendum to the WonderCon reveals. I'm actually just going to do this to finish it off. Kitty said there's only like 1,000 images to scan through. Look at this. Look at all this we got through. My goodness. There you go. So thank you for joining me for the classified WonderCon images. I will be back tomorrow. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Let's Talk Classified Dial Tone or if it's going to be some other news that might break. We don't know. So if there's news, I'll report on the news. If not, we'll do a Let's Talk Classified Dial Tone. For my kind of patrons as well, love you guys as well. Thank you so much for all the amazing support. I'll be doing something in the week with you guys. I've got a few little kind of bits and pieces to share with you guys. So we'll be doing that with the patrons in the week. Don't know exactly when, maybe when there's a gap. But like I said, tomorrow I'm aiming for Let's Talk Classified Dial Tone. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this one, guys. Like I said, stay fresh cheese. I didn't say that before, but like I said, like I'm saying now, stay fresh cheese bags. And after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. See you later. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.